I gave you my heart.
Welcome back for another video. Today we're going to look at 7 of the hardest games on the NES, and they're not ranked in any particular order, and I compiled them together and I looked for games that were fun to play and kept making you come back for more, even though they are very difficult. So games like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde aren't going to be in this list. Yes, they're hard, but they would be considered more along the worst games on the NES. So that being said, we're going to look at number 7, Ninja Gaiden. Ninja Gaiden was a blast to play, and the first couple levels aren't that bad. But as you progress, the difficulty level starts to increase with more challenging jumps, and the enemies just respawn constantly. So it gets to a point, at least for me, that it felt like I was almost in a pressure cooker. The parkouring part of this game is definitely awesome, and it kind of reminds me of Batman a little bit. Now, my first time ever playing this, I was confused on how to beat this boss. I would try to straight up attack and would barely do anything to him as he just hit me or, hurt me just on contact. On my second attempt though, I decided to hang on to my ninja stars and chip out his health with that and then finally finish him off. So I was able to beat him on my second attempt, and overall, I did enjoy this game. It is one of the good ones. Ninja Gaiden, although it was difficult, I still enjoyed playing it, and even though I keep dying, I still keep coming back for more. It is a fun game, but it is very difficult. So now we're going to look at number 6, Contra. Contra is a fast-paced shooter, and it's really enjoyable and fun and exciting. The only problem I have is that it's one of those games to where it's like a one-hit, one-kill kind of thing. So if you're not careful, you're immediately going to die, and that's a life wasted, and you only get 2 lives. But the gameplay is very enjoyable, and the graphics are pretty good too. I like the fact that I never know what to expect that's coming up ahead. It's always some kind of surprise waiting for you. Now, I wouldn't consider Contra 1 to be the most difficult out of the whole series. At least for me, the Contra on the Super Nintendo was a lot more difficult, but this is a game that it will kick your butt, but at the same time, it'll keep drawing you in to keep playing. Now at number 5, we're going to look at a kind of an oddball one that you probably wouldn't expect in this list, and that's Jaws. You basically spend 90% of the game collecting shells to buy power-ups and new weapons, and one of the hardest parts is actually defeating Jaws. There's several powers you can level up to, but what makes this game really hard is the fact that as soon as you die, your power level goes back to 0, you lose some shells, and you have to start the whole farming process all over again. So the most difficult part is the farming and trying to level up so you can be strong enough to kill Jaws. And I know Jaws, a lot of people aren't a big fan of the game Jaws, but for me, I enjoyed the game. I enjoyed playing it. It was kind of reminiscent to me of Aquadventure on the Atari, and I do enjoy it. Okay, so at number 4, we have Castlevania. I absolutely love Castlevania, difficulty aside, and I try to play it at least once a year around Halloween time. The enemies just keep responding, and in big hordes, and it took me forever to beat the first boss when I first tried to play this as a kid. And I still have trouble with it. If I'm lucky enough to find the watch or the axe, I can kill them pretty easy. But it's the stupid Medusa heads. For me, that's the hardest part. Just trying to get past the Medusa heads. And it all ends the same for me as soon as they start coming up. At number 3, this is a game I rarely played just because I couldn't make it past the first level. And that's Mega Man. The intensity level for Mega Man is completely insane as soon as you press start. You're immediately just bombarded by all these blue enemies, and they just dive at you. They're so fast I can barely hit them, and if I'm lucky enough, I'll chip away at them. Usually I just try to run away from them and try to outrun them. In the story of my life, I can't ever get past the very first level I go to. Mega Man for me is hands down the hardest game I've ever played. Next at number 2, we got Mike Tyson's Punch-Out! Mike Tyson's Punch-Out! Is definitely a difficult game, but it's also very rewarding and enjoyable. What I love about it is also the cryptic nature to it. You know, trying to watch the crowd and time it just right to get that knockout with one punch. But this is definitely a game that just keeps on giving, and I think it's going to be a classic to last forever. And finally at number 1, we have Ghosts and Goblins. Some would consider Ghosts and Goblins to be one of the hardest games on the NES. For me, I reviewed it for Halloween, and yes, it's very difficult, and the constant respawning enemies and certain enemies being really, really strong aside, the bosses aren't too hard to beat as long as you have the right weapons and know how to use them. Especially the devil at the end, I found a way to kill him with any weapon, so if you want to see that, check out the video on the link. Alright, that'll do it for today's video. If you enjoyed this kind of content and you want to see more like it, comment down below suggestions for future top 7 videos, and until next time, please like, subscribe, the bell notification so you never miss an update, share this video, and play games. Catch you later.
I gave you my heart.